Hi there, I hope you're doing well. My name is Henry Neff, and I'm a parent of Watchung Elementary School. And I've got two boys who are in 4th and 2nd grade, and I've been involved with the Playground Committee. And I wanted to make a brief video after listening to the Board of Education meeting last night and going through this process the last couple of years, just to try to clarify some things and to clear up any misconceptions, and hopefully to get people operating off the same kind of base of facts. Because one thing as I was listening to people talk last night, people on both sides of the issue, is that everybody has good intentions. Everybody wants the best for our kids. And I actually don't think that there's as much difference as people might be thinking. And so I just want to make a brief video to try to walk through some of those issues. I hope you'll bear with me and listen with an open mind, and then we can re-engage in this conversation in a really productive way to get the best for all of the kids. So I'm going to start off in a place where you might not expect me to, which is to clear up the first misconception that the Watchung Playground Committee is anti-field. So let's take a look at the existing field we've got right now. And I think anybody would agree that this field is a disaster. This field needs to be replaced. In fact, Dr. Scarpello explained to us as we were talking with him the other day that this field is 17 years old, that it is unsafe, that is a problem for the athletes, and obviously we know the issue of whether or not they can play varsity regulation games here, which they can't. We are totally in favor of the town resurfacing this field. And I'll even take that one step further. When we talked to Dr. Scarpello, and he was explaining to us the size requirements for a varsity field to host varsity boys and girls lacrosse and soccer and field hockey games. He explained to us very clearly and very professionally that the field needs to be 30 feet bigger than it is for those games to take place, for it to be a regulation field. And as we listened to that, we said, well, gosh, that makes a lot of sense. And let's walk together and just take a look at what 30 feet looks like. So this is 30 feet. I've taken a stab at drawing a green line here that should show you what 30 feet looks like relative to the playground. And that to us seems totally reasonable, especially when you take into account all the students and the athletes and the teams that would benefit, the pressure it would take off the practice fields, all that kind of stuff. So just to be perfectly clear, the Watchung Playground Committee is in favor of resurfacing the field, and we are in favor of extending the field 10 yards so that there is a regulation varsity-sized field for the athletes who desperately need it. Here's where the problem comes in. That's not what the plans are asking for. So when we met with Dr. Scarpello and Dr. Pons and we were talking about this, and Dr. Scarpello articulated to us why he needs a new field, why he needs that field to be bigger, 30 feet bigger than it is, we agreed with everything he had to say, and we had a question of our own. Then why do the plans that the district has drawn up, why are they calling for a 70-foot extension to the field? So let's take a look at what that looks like. So right now we are 30 feet away from the edge of the existing field, right? You can see what kind of an impact that would have on the playground, right? It's too bad. They would have to get rid of the shade tree. They'd have to get rid of some stuff, right? But we think it's reasonable, totally reasonable, given what the town needs. What is actually in the plans, however, we do not think is reasonable. And so let's look at that. So here we are at 30 feet, and now we're going to walk out to 70 feet. Now, no sport that the high schools play requires a 70-foot extension to the field. Not a single one, right? So if we're standing here now, we are now 70 feet away from the edge of the existing field. We are 40 feet beyond what's required to play any high school sport. And look at the impact that it's going to have on the playground. We simply do not understand why the district has designed a field that is 40 feet bigger than it needs to be, especially when it's going to have this kind of an impact on the play space and playground for Watchung Elementary School's only playground. So when we look at what would be left for the playground and the play space, this is it. So I'm going to walk with me. This space over here is 47 feet wide, and it would go to the swings that you can see over here. So roughly 2/3 of the existing play space and all of the existing playground, with the exception of the swings, would be torn up and taken away from the students at the elementary school to build a field that everybody, including the athletic director, says is 40 feet bigger than it needs to be. Nobody wants to be unreasonable. Everybody wants to have everything that they need. And the reality is that the high school students do not need a field that is this big, especially when it comes at such a price. And so what we're hoping to do is to work with the community like we've been trying to do for 2 years, right? And I just want to clarify one other misconception. I've heard people say that, hey, the playground committee, you guys stopped this project 2 years ago, and you haven't done anything since then. Stop your complaining. You're being territorial. You're being obstructionist. And with respect, I would strongly disagree with that. The construction didn't happen 2 years ago because the district only received one bid for the construction, and they couldn't proceed based on that. And then after that, in the intervening 2 years, we know that it's been pretty crazy with a lot of urgent repairs needed on the buildings, with a global pandemic, all kinds of things happening. We have tried repeatedly to schedule meetings with the administration throughout the superintendent turnover, all of these things. We have not been able to get answers to the questions we've been asking for 2 years. We have tried repeatedly to meet. Those meetings have been canceled. Those meetings have been postponed. And then while we were in the middle of having what we thought were good faith discussions, we then learned that construction was about to start. And we still don't have answers to some of the basic questions we've been asking. For example, I have yet, and I am absolutely willing to hear it, I have yet to hear anybody make a compelling argument for why a district is going to build a field that is 40 feet larger than it needs to be, 40 feet larger than the athletic director is even asking for, at the expense of the school's only playground and 2/3 of their play space. I don't get it. And I want to be reasonable. I want to work with people. I want us to come to a solution that works for everyone. This doesn't work for everyone. This doesn't even really work for what the high school needs. Who this works for are adult male soccer players who need a field that is apparently 120 yards long. But that's not who we're building this for. And so I don't understand how we've gotten to this point. Why we created blueprints for a field this big, I don't know. I don't even know who submitted the request for proposal a couple years ago, right? I don't know what the budget would be for the playground that's supposed to replace this. I haven't seen a complete design for the playground that's supposed to replace this. So I don't think we're trying to be unreasonable. I think we're trying to work with people. It is frustrating to attend public meetings and hear even Board of Education members say that I don't see what the problem is, we're only taking 30 feet. I just want to reiterate one more time. The plans do not call for taking 30 feet. They call for taking 70 feet. And that 70 feet is 40 feet more than the high school needs, and it is coming at a tremendous cost. And so what I am asking for and what other people are asking for is to hit the brakes on this and to figure out what went wrong, how to redraw the plan so that they give the high school absolutely everything they need, right? While also giving the students some of the space and the room that they need. And I don't think that's unreasonable. I am happy to speak about this with anybody who wants to talk about it. I do want to reiterate that it is not our fault that the district drew plans for a field that is much bigger than it needed to be. We understand that delays are extremely frustrating for the athletes and for the coaches, and that you have been extremely patient waiting for this field. I sympathize. I love sports. I want you to have the field that you need and deserve, right? But it can't come at such a high and unnecessary price. And so I hope that you will listen to this. Please give it your consideration. Let's work together to try to get not only a fantastic field that can host varsity games, but also a playground that isn't so narrow and so small that it's arguably unworkable and unsafe. So please, let's work together on this. I respectfully ask Dr. Pons and the Board of Education members to come down and take a look at the space and look at the vast difference between what is required to give the athletic department the field it needs and what is actually in the plans. It is a huge difference, and I hope we can all be reasonable and come together to do something that works. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I hope we can talk about this further.